In this video, you'll learn how to create contingency tables. Contingency tables are a frequency distribution table for two qualitative variables. This table will simultaneously describe the data on two variables. If you look at your start file, you'll find a data set of employee ratings. For each employee, it details the actual rating that the employee received, as well as what they were predicted to receive. We are going to create a contingency table that will simultaneously describe the data on both variables. For example, we'll be able to determine the number of employees that were predicted to receive an excellent rating and actually received an excellent rating. We'll figure out the number of employees that were predicted to receive an excellent but actually received a good, actually received a fair, and actually received a poor. In order to complete this contingency table, we are going to use the CountIfs function. First, Excel is going to ask us information regarding our first criteria. Our first criteria is going to be an actual rating of excellent. So what we have to do first is we have to tell Excel what the range is. So what we're going to do is we're going to highlight the data. So this is the range. We're going to tell Excel, look at this data. And we're going to want to fix it. So we're going to want to use absolute referencing, and we're going to want to fix both the columns and the rows because this is always going to be the range. It's not going to change, so we're going to fix it. Then what we have to do is we have to tell Excel what the criteria is, and it's a rating of excellent. And what we're going to do is we're going to fix the column but not the row, and that's because when we drag it down, we want it to move down. We want to stay in the same column, but we want the rows to change. So we're going to fix the column, but we're going to let the rows be unfixed. Then we're going to indicate our second criteria. So we're going to highlight the range or the data. So this is all the data that we have on the predicted ratings. And again, we're going to want to fix it. Then we are going to want to indicate our second criteria, which is a predicted rating of excellent. And we are going to want to use absolute referencing for the rows, but not the columns. So when we drag our formula to the right, we want the columns to change, but we want the row to stay the same. So what this is doing is it's telling Excel to basically count up the number of employees that actually received a rating of excellent and were predicted to receive a rating of excellent. And it is 4. And now what we can do, because we used absolute referencing, is we can drag our formula down. What I like to do is I like to click on the cell just to make sure that the correct criteria was referenced. And you can see that the data set is highlighted properly and we're referencing the appropriate criterion. And now what we can do is we can fill in the rest of the table. Again, I like to check just to make sure that my referencing is correct, and it is. So we can see that, for example, 4 employees actually received a rating of fair, and they were predicted to receive a rating of fair. 0 employees were predicted to receive a rating of poor, but then actually received a rating of excellent. What we're going to do now is we're going to determine the percent correct, or we're going to figure out the percentage of employees in which their predicted ratings were the same as their actual ratings. So in order to do that, first we're going to add up all of the employees in which there was a match between their predicted and actual rating. And then we're going to divide that by all of the employees. So it's 0.7, we're going to want to turn that into a percentage, 70%. So this is how you create a contingency table in Excel. Again, a contingency table is describing the data on two qualitative variables.